This is the new Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid. It's built in Huntsville, Alabama. My tester is the top-of-the-line XSE Hybrid all-wheel drive. You can have a non-hybrid engine and front-wheel drive if you like. This color is called Acidic Blast. And the Corolla Cross generally sits about mid-pack in terms of physical size against its competition, with the Volkswagen Taos and Honda HR-V both being larger, and models like the Subaru Crosstrek, Mazda CX-30, and Hyundai Kona being a bit smaller when considering length and width overall. By the way, if you want to be notified of upcoming videos where I compare these models side by side, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and click that notification bell. Under the hood, it's a 2-liter 4-cylinder with 169 horsepower in non-hybrid models. The hybrid version of the 2-liter engine makes 196 horsepower, an increase of 27 while using less fuel. All hybrid models are standard with all-wheel drive, and all-wheel drive is available on non-hybrid models if you like, though front-wheel drive is standard. We'll get to the road test shortly, but first, let me show you around a little. So first impressions, a little compact but not crowded. We've got the center tunnel coming in fairly close to my leg here. There's enough room, but just nothing generous here. Decent outward sight lines. Headroom here, a little tighter than I was expecting with the sunroof, but still going to be just fine for you. If you're like me, about 5'10" or maybe a little bit taller. Fairly simple center stack design here. If you're after something flashier, more dynamic looking, maybe Hyundai Kona, Mazda CX-30, you do definitely have some better options if you want a more engaging looking interior. A lot of this stuff to me looks like the Toyota Corolla from a couple of years ago. Compared to some of the competitors, it is getting dated, but on the plus side, very simple climate control system here. We've got tactile buttons for just about everything. They are a little bit on the small side, but these will work just fine with your gloves on. Fairly standard infotainment system here. We've got the tablet sort of style popping up from the top. That is fixed, it is not removable, does not slide up and down. So here's the factory Toyota interface here. You can use Android Auto or Apple CarPlay if you like. Very simple responsive interface here. Responds just like a high-end tablet. So now that you're up to speed on what the Toyota Corolla Cross is and what it offers, let's get into our road test. With nearly 200 horsepower, all-wheel drive, and a proper set of winter tires, I was well equipped for the very first snowfall of the season. In fact, the very first thing I did with this tester was a 4-hour highway drive in conditions like these, though this was the only snow I'd see for the rest of this 2,000-kilometer test drive. Still, I was able to gather a few important impressions from low-traction driving situations, and there are some pros and cons. In this sort of driving on the mostly empty and unlit highways of northern Ontario, the two things I want the most are a set of quality winter tires. We've got Blizzaks on in this case, so all good there. And the other thing I want is a very powerful lighting system, and the Corolla Cross delivers strongly here too. I'll be detailing the nighttime driving experience of this machine for you in a future video, so if you're watching on YouTube, be sure not to miss that upload.
So here's a closer look at the digital instrument cluster and how we can set that up to display whatever information we like. So to control that portion of the digital instrument cluster, we're just using this 4-way D-pad here with the OK button in the middle. When we tap up and down, we can see the different types of information we can display. And then when we tap left and right, we can go through the different displays within that type of information. So here is our Eco display. This shows us our safety systems and compass. So the adaptive cruise control mode, when we're using that, we would tap here to change the following distance and see that referenced up there on the screen, as well with the lane keeping assist and whatnot. Here, tap that button and you can see the infographic change.
Strong lights and good traction from a set of winter rubber eliminated about 85% of my concerns on this drive, and I really appreciated the extra rear axle traction from the all-wheel drive system when accelerating and maneuvering at lower speeds in the snow, though it really doesn't come into play on the highway. Still, this tester left me wishing for more in a few regards when it came to driving on snow and ice, and actually elsewhere in the test drive too. The overall drive in winter is confident, but some finer elements of how the Corolla Cross responds to its driver are worth noting. Unlike, say, the Mazda CX-30 and Subaru Crosstrek, I don't get the sense that the Toyota Corolla Cross is targeting an above-average level of driver engagement by way of the feel at its controls. Specifically, the steering is smooth and easy to use, but also light, somewhat vague, and fairly lacking when it comes to feedback at the tips of your fingers, so experienced winter drivers may find themselves wanting just a little bit more feedback about what's happening between the tires and the road. Same goes for the brakes. They're powerful enough and perform well overall, with actually quite a strong reaction for panic stops that inspires confidence, but the feel at the pedal is vague and also a little inconsistent throughout the stroke. That's often the case for hybrid cars, but the point is that under braking and slippery conditions, the experienced winter driver may again just be wishing for a little more communication between the brake pedal and the right foot. The Corolla Cross's ride reminded me of the Mazda CX-30 that I showed you a few weeks ago, and that's not a bad thing. It's on the sportier side, a lively overall drive that feels dense and agile on the highway, not soft and gelatinous. And around town, the suspension seems calibrated towards the sportier side of the spectrum, but without degrading ride quality very much on very rough roads. It's a solid overall setup that I find to work well on the highway, the back roads, and in around town daily driving sort of situations. So no complaints on the ride, and it's worth noting that this one feels quite solid and well put together while its suspension is being pummeled by Sudbury, Ontario's roads, the worst ones I ever drive on. These road surfaces can coax interior rattles out of six-figure luxury SUVs, and for roughly $37,000 for my tester, things stayed nicely hushed other than the odd click or tap. The powertrain is a slick bit of tech. The 2-liter hybrid engine has no alternator because it is its own generator. As you drive around, the hybrid battery is charged automatically by the gas engine, the stored power later used to help drive the car, either by helping the gas engine out so it doesn't have to work as hard, or even allowing the gas engine to turn off while the car drives purely on stored electricity that it just created. There's no plugging in and nothing to do, just put gas in the tank and drive. Since hybrid engines like this one work hand in hand with one or more electric motors, drivers can expect particularly pleasing response and performance in around town driving, where the extra electric torque gives you a major increase in throttle response, both off the line and while driving at lower speeds. This works with that lively ride quality I mentioned, and the result is a machine that feels eager and energetic in day-to-day driving. Overall power output is strong and pleasing, though the CVT gearbox means there is no meaningful sensation of shifting gears. And while the powertrain is happy enough to be worked hard, you are really seeing its best work with a light-footed driving style, where there's plenty of quiet torque alongside electrically smooth responsiveness. So actually a little crowded for the feet getting back here if you're wearing your winter boots. James, you were right about this. So you are kind of up in the ceiling, like there's enough room. It actually has about as much headroom as we're used to, except you've got this piece here sort of sticking down and this piece here sort of sloping down this way. So although the headroom itself is actually fine, I think you might find this a little more crowded than you're expecting. Knee room, adequate. I'd say not generous, just adequate here. This is fine if you're my size. Enough room for your feet there, almost a flat rear floor, but not quite. These seats are adequately comfortable. They're pretty soft. I'm finding the back a little bit stiffer than the bottoms, but remember that Hyundai Kona from last week, right?
Yeah.
Remember, you sat back there.
And it was like...
It was rock hard. This is a little bit softer.
A little bit. Like there's no... You're not making an ass groove in there.
Over time, this could wear in, become a little softer. Just make sure you've got your passengers sitting back here so you're confirming everybody's comfortable. I have an important warning message for you at the end of the video, but first I want to give you my overall personal assessment of the Corolla Cross. And if you're considering one of these, then I think you'll find this to be the most important part of the video. So, 2 key points. First, if you're a driver who often finds themselves active in the process of fuel-efficient driving, you'll find the Corolla Cross to be a comprehensive toolbox to help further your efforts. Because if you like, you can set the hybrid system up to work in different modes, eco, normal, and sport. And also, handy infographics can be called up on screen to help you keep more engaged with the hybrid system as you drive, and visually coach you to squeeze out every mile you can from every tank of fuel. And second, if you've ever test driven the new Honda HR-V but wished for some more power from a similarly sized package, then this might just be your answer. Compared to the new Honda HR-V, the extra hybrid punch in the Corolla Cross means it does 0 to 60 a full 2 seconds quicker, while using about 30% less fuel to do it. And actually, the Corolla Cross has more seats down cargo volume than the Honda HR-V as well. We'll take a quick look at what we've got for spare tire provisions because that's important too. This is going to be an inflator kit. And so if you get a flat, you've got this can of goop here. Emergency tire puncture repair kit. So you're going to hook this can of slime up to this electric pump and pump it into your tire. So this is a solution if you've got a nail or a screw or a small puncture. You can pump your tire back up, seal it temporarily with this slime or this goop here, and then drive at a maximum of 80 kilometers per hour to get to a tire repair shop and have that tire replaced. Important to note, there is no temporary or full-size spare here. So if you're driving in Sudbury, Ontario, where our roads are full of potholes and craters, you're commonly going to blow a sidewall if you damage a tire. It's not going to be a puncture, and in that situation, this stuff's not going to help you. So if you're not sure if the spare tire provisions in the Corolla Cross that you're considering are going to be adequate for where you live, talk to your dealer about possibly ordering a full size or a temporary spare to make sure that your trip keeps on going no matter what happens to that tire.
Well, thank you for watching. My name's Justin Pritchard. That's all I've got for you this time. Don't forget to click the like and subscribe buttons down below if you're watching on YouTube and you learned something new. And until next time, take care and drive safe.